Hello and welcome to Crash Helmet Formula 1. We're about to review a riveting race from Russia, which Josh has subsequently forgotten and I hadn't even gone to the trouble of watching. So, Evan, what happened?
We're going to rely on Evan.
Oh god, like, what a great intro. I haven't watched it and Josh can't remember it. But basically,
I can remember bits.
there was a lot of drama, but not really a lot of action.
Right? What do you mean?
Well, Max Verstappen. Well, Max Verstappen overtook like 10 cars in the first. No, he went from 19th to. Where was he in? 19th to 6th by like lap 7, and then he led more laps than Lewis Hamilton.
Do you want to fill us in on why the Red Bulls started from the back of the grid?
Engine penalties.
Straightforward.
So Renault again, the bastards.
Huh?
They're sabotaging Red Bull's season.
Oh, 100%.
But where did Renault finish in that race?
Renault. Oh, they were like 13th and 14th.
Yeah.
Oh no,
bastards.
I think Hulk was just outside the points.
The Hulk was well up there for a long time, but I don't know what happened. He stayed out on a very long first stint, and just tires fell away from him. He got screwed then by the Force Indias and the Haas's that were doing quite well.
I have actually just that you mentioned Haas. Came out and get a fantastic weekend, hadn't he? As did Charles in the Sauber.
Well, Charles had an excellent weekend.
Charles was the hero of the weekend.
Yeah.
He should have got driver of the day, in my opinion. Max Verstappen got driver of the day. I think Charles should have got it.
Max probably deserved it.
I was his birthday.
That's a good recovery drive.
But like, regardless of where you start in either a Ferrari, Red Bull, or Mercedes, you're going to finish top 6 regardless.
But you know what? If Red Bull had a bit of qualifying pace, if they could put that car on pole or in the front row, you wouldn't get by it. You could see how much Lewis was struggling behind Max on very old tires.
I don't think he was really trying.
Well, he gave it a go. He definitely gave it a go, and
he tried once.
Yeah, he had a go, and look, he knew Max was obviously going to pit soon. If Max actually had a pit earlier, he was quite enjoying keeping Lewis behind him. He probably could have had Kimi.
Yeah, but as soon as he came out after pitting, Red Bull told him to turn the engine down.
Well, yeah, there was no point chasing the next race.
No.
I think they turned it down because they know they have a good chance of performing well in Mexico.
Yeah, high altitude and whatever. It actually with like people,
it suits an aero efficient car.
Yeah, it's a very aero efficient car. Like, with a lot of people saying about the new regulations that the new high downforce cars would suit Red Bull. It's actually a disadvantage to Red Bull. Low downforce cars, like low downforce regulations, would actually suit Red Bull better, because basically a lot of the corners that were corners 3 years ago aren't really corners anymore. So like Red Bull's downforce doesn't come into play as much, so you're at top end for longer.
So do we see them making a comeback in 2019?
Yeah,
with the Honda engine.
I definitely think if Honda's up to scratch, I definitely think they'll be a lot stronger next year, especially just because there's lower downforce next year.
Actually, on the same topic of Red Bull, did you listen to the sound clip of the Valkyrie yet?
Of what?
The Valkyrie.
No. Is it nice?
They released an official sound clip of the engine today.
The Aston Martin Valkyrie.
Yeah, it's very like early 90s F1 sound.
Oh, cool.
Do you want to tell us more about that car?
Not really, no.
No? Okay, fair enough.
Contractually obliged not to.
How long is your contract? Not to talk?
It's gone. But
yeah, you're just a gentleman.
Leaves an air of mystery to the whole thing.
Breaking news: Lewis Hamilton is saddened by McLaren and Williams' struggles and hopes there is light at the end of the tunnel.
The light at the end of the tunnel for me is when the doors close at Williams.
And news from Williams. Williams are intensively evaluating, these are the words of Claire Williams, intensively evaluating the drivers. There you go.
So shit 1 and shit 2.
Well, like, Stroll's gone. Sorokin's, as you said, he's losing SMP money, so
yeah,
they're not interested in him anymore. So what are they going to do?
Well, it still looks like they're just going to overshadow Ocon.
Do you think they'll take Markelov?
Markelov signed to Renault. He's their junior driver.
Yeah, but so is Aitken.
Yeah, but Aitken's shite.
Aitken is shite. Markelov isn't great. He like shows up, finishes 8th in the feature race, starts on pole for reverse grid, and then wins a race. That's usually what Markelov does.
The thing is, though, is that Markelov is fantastically consistent.
Oh, he is.
So I think that's exactly the kind of person that Williams need at this point in time. What Williams really need is to take back Nico Hülkenberg, if they could possibly ever could.
No, you're ludicrous, man. They need money. They just need to sell the seats, get money, build a car.
Yeah, but there's no point. No, they need at least one good driver.
Not
to
really.
Fucking fix
not really.
the shitstorm.
No,
Doesn't George Russell's our lad have a lot of money?
Well, he's racing in F2, so presumably, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't understand. They could do. My fire alarm.
Danger! Fire! Fire! Everybody out! This is what most of the Williams workers must be feeling right now. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a lot of targeted Facebook ads for
invest in Williams,
for graduate opportunities and internships at Williams. So in other words, they're looking for cheap employees, cheap labour.
Thing is, Josh, you probably suit their demographic, having absolutely no engineering experience whatsoever.
Yeah,
and
I might throw my
useless
hat
in the job.
I might throw my hat at.
Where's their base? Is it in Milton Keynes?
No, it's in Grove in Oxfordshire.
Oh, so that's not
It's
too
like
far away.
in the middle.
It's about an hour away from
It's all in the
middle
one
of
area.
no, it's like middle of nowhere. Turn left. It's like the most fucking remote of all the F1 bases.
But I'm assuming it's very close to Claire's house, which is number 1 on the agenda.
Claire just sleeps in the office.
Oh, she does.
She's been kicked out of her house because she's no money left.
I don't think
Would it make sense
I don't
to
think she has the commitment Frank had.
Do you think it would make?
Frank was paralysed and he still came back.
Claire was paralysed and still won world championships.
Yeah, Claire can actually walk, and she just seems to have lost all her fight. You know, Frank, you have to credit where credit is due. Frank nearly fucking died in in a car accident, and he still showed up every weekend. I know Claire's still going along, but like, God, the team is fucking heartless now.
They don't seem to have like that inspirational character anymore to like push them through. You know, you think about it, like this is a team that's pushed through Senna, Prost, fucking God and his dog.
They lost their soul and character when they killed Senna.
Not really. they had like they still won fucking a world championship with Jacques Villeneuve.
Oh God.
And Damon Hill.
Yeah, but like, Jacques Villeneuve is terrible. He's a fucking idiot. Jacques Villeneuve does nothing except show up every now and again and start blurting crap about certain drivers.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, but we're not trying to make ourselves relevant. Oh wait.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, that's like us.
We are. New conclusion. We are Jacques Villeneuve.
Oh God, is that what we've become?
This is where we're at, lads.
What do you think of Kvyat's return?
I'm way more concerned about Lewis Hamilton's new T-shirt.
Oh, the 15%.
That's how much I care about Daniel Kvyat. Yes. That Lewis Hamilton has released a T-shirt with DKNY. What's it? 20% plant-based. Something Formula 1 4th on the list. There you go. Blessed. Yay.
It was 4th on the list, but it was number 3 overall.
Yeah, that was really annoying me.
What?
I didn't notice. So like,
what, they
on
went
the
0,
list,
1, 2, 3?
No, like, so at the top it's like, I think it's like 24% plant-based, and then like 20 something whatever. But 4th on the list is Formula 1, but it's actually got a higher percent than 3rd on the list, which really,
I think we've lost Josh's.
It triggered my OCD.
Are you still there, Josh?
Yeah, I just don't care.
Yeah. So Kvyat.
Told you.
Fintan, what's your opinion of Kvyat?
I think it's going to be a second coming. I think it's going to be like a fucking K-Mag story where he comes back out of the shadows and fucking shows the shit up altogether. You think about it, like, when Red Bull sacked him, who picked him up? Ferrari. As like their fucking simulator driver.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like he's been out of the loop entirely. Like the guy does know still how to drive a Formula 1 car.
How did he get on in testing? Did he get on in testing?
What do you mean in testing?
Well, did he not do testing in Russia?
No.
I don't know.
Then what was this whole thing about the comeback of K-Mag? Lots of...
The come back of
Because
K-Mag.
Not K-Mag, sorry, Danny Kvyat.
No, he didn't do it. No, he's coming back next year.
He's going to be driving for Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
I thought they were bringing him back for Russia there. I thought he was
No, he's very boring. He's just going to show up and crash into Vettel a number of times, and then that'll be it.
That'd be quite exciting.
I don't think so. I think he's going to... I think it's helped him mature. Like, he's had that loss and year away to come back and be better.
He's been in the depths of depression for the guts of a year now.
To be fair, he did...
What does Josh usually say about our American friends? Something related to depression.
I don't know, Evan. You'll have to remind me.
They're popping
it's
Xanax.
fashionable.
It's fashionable, Josh. Remember the time you said that? It's fashionable.
It is. Like, you know, because there's people out there with real mental issues that need these medicines, and they're just taking it for a fucking swing and a roundabout because, you know.
You fat Americans just
Why
popping
not?
Xanax for no reason.
Yeah, they need an excuse to be fat, and it's a medical condition. So there you go. I eat cookies when I'm depressed. That's what I'm going to do.
Don't be fat
now.
shaming Josh. That's not nice.
He's eating cookies now.
I'm going to have a Mary
He's eating cookies now.
because I'm depressed.
Nom nom nom. Anything
All
else?
right,
That's
Conor
like remotely,
McGregor.
anything that are remotely interesting in the news at all? Like F1 related, or is this going to be like a 12-minute show?
Well, we've got Japan to talk about.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that. That's this week.
But
It's
Japan,
kind of hard to like.
Japan.
It's going to be Lewis's race.
Do you think?
Realistically, yeah.
I think Red Bull could probably not wants to turn up the engines in qualifying.
Oh no. Hold on, Evans got poor network connections there or something to that effect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now again. Go on,
Right,
how is it
right.
about Japan?
I think Red Bull could be quite interesting because there's no really long straights in Japan, but the only really fast section there's only two, and that's Main Straight, which actually isn't even that long, and then the run from Spoon up past 130R.
Hang on. Wasn't the straight at Suzuka like one of the longest straights in the calendar?
I don't think so.
I swear.
it?
Suzuka.
I thought it was.
Are you sure you're not thinking on like Kota or somewhere, no?
Kota's got a really long straight.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy now.
See, the problem with Suzuka is there's no like really heavy braking zones after long straights either, so like it's really difficult to pull off a pass there.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of time to overtake.
Has anybody got like an oversteery car on the grid this year? Not really. Because they're usually cars that go well around Suzuka.
Sauber.
Well, the Red Bull.
Sauber slightly oversteery?
I think
Yeah, it is.
Sauber's very
Yeah,
oversteery.
I'd say a Schneeky 5 on Sauber to have a good result at
Williams
Japan,
is all
probably
tons of
another.
steering.
they have understeer and oversteer at the same time.
That's just called having no grip. That's called going sideways.
Yeah, that's when they close the DRS. They have to open the DRS for their qualifying laps.
Jesus.
It's
It's like...
Ferrari to unveil a new livery from Japanese Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Philip Morris are promoting their new green initiatives away from smoking. So it's just going to have like the Marlboro logo, but just have like not Marlboro on it.
yeah, Philip Morris. Isn't Philip Morris the guy who owns all the? He owns like the company car basically.
Philip Morris is like a group. They're not like one dude anymore.
I know.
Philip Morris died like 200 years ago.
Okay, so
But yeah, Philip Morris, they own like what, like 20-30 odd % in Ferrari, something to that effect.
it's a nice percentage to own.
Yeah.
Who owns
But yeah,
the-
no, I think it's because there's like no white on them anymore, that they're kind of like, shit, we're not really looking like a Marlboro box anymore, so we need to put something on it.
Yeah, because last year they had the white on it because they had Santander,
Yeah.
and then obviously they lost Santander this year, so they don't have white anymore.
So I think like it's apparently the side pods are all changed from what it used to be in terms of livery.
And the engine covers.
Yeah, and they've got something on the rear wing as well
Something on
again.
the rear wing,
So there
yeah.
are going to be like a lot of colour on this car.
Yeah. What are odds on Honda performing at their home race? Because Toro Rosso had a bit of a shit show at Russia.
They had a shit show at Russia, but it wasn't Honda's fault that they had a shit show, was it?
No, it was the
Was
brakes.
the brakes give up?
The brakes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was the break. Oh, so it's your fault.
No.
No, he didn't work for Toro Rosso.
fucking idiot. Um, but going back to that, it'll be interesting to see what they can do at their home race. You know, like they can't afford to give engine penalties to any of their drivers, so they're going to have to go out and do it on their own.
I think they're going to turn it up to 12.
Do you reckon? And
Yeah.
just like win it or bin it.
Go balls out, win it or bin it. Well, obviously not
Have
win
they
it.
not been
but-
just doing that all year anyway?
No, they've
been-
actually had like a very reliable year compared to the last 3 before it.
Where are we with engine units across the grid?
I think Honda, Red Bull, and Renault factory have all taken an extra engine. Like in terms of like Red Bull and Toro Rosso, there isn't that much of a difference in part usage.
I think both Mercedes and both Ferrari are on their third engines now, so I think they're on track to finish the season without taking a penalty. Oh, actually, that reminds me. News just in as of yesterday. Hamilton apparently had an oil leak before the race on
Don't
Sunday.
worry too much about that.
No, but apparently the team were quite concerned about the engine. They're quite concerned about the engine. So apparently the reason they were going to speak to Bottas after the race was because they wanted to let Lewis through to build more points over Vettel because they're kind of worried about getting a DNF. Which I think makes sense.
Of course you think it makes sense, but that was Bottas' race to win.
Yeah, but remember, it's a team game.
It was a team game, but why couldn't they switch positions on the last lap?
Because then they might not
They
win
were
the
still getting
Drivers'
the 1-2.
Championship. Yeah, it's still the same points for the team.
I still would have required 2 DNFs. The season's over. I mean,
One DNF, it's wide open again.
I thought Toto had the
Not
had
really.
the balls.
It's 4 races to get 25
I
points.
thought Toto had
5 races.
Oh, shut up!
See,
Go
I
on.
thought Toto had the balls to at least play to the marketing side of things, because he's been pushing his image very hard lately, and if he had have allowed Bottas to take the victory, it would have improved that image tenfold. And in fact, he's gone and taken 5 steps backwards.
No.
Especially
Valtteri Bottas winning does nothing
especially
for
since
image.
I tipped Bottas on this podcast last week for victory, and I put him number 1 on my fantasy GP predictions.
can I just point out that I was also correct in saying that Lewis Hamilton wouldn't be on pole? And my streak of not getting this wrong on the show is still going.
It's still 100%.
Yeah,
Are you going to say it again for Japan?
of course.
Are you confident though?
No, not at all.
He does go well around Japan.
He does go well around
He
Japan. But I'm
does.
going to say now, Kimi throws it in pole.
Really?
You're mental.
Yeah. I know, mental.
Just follow up. I don't think Lewis doesn't go well anywhere.
No, I suppose not.
Well, Bottas.
But to be
in
fair-
all fairness, Bottas really did have the beating of him in Russia. I mean,
Bottas
for,
isn't.
He did.
for a man
Bottas has never
not on form, he done tremendously well.
He's never been out.
Like-
He's never been out qualified in Russia.
He out-qualified Hamilton with like a good margin as well.
1/10.
A good
Yeah.
margin.
A good margin. Come on, we've had polls decided by hundredths between teams this year. To out-qualify your teammate by a tenth is fucking massive.
I think Hamilton had the pace for pole. If you watched qualifying, he was 4 thousandths off on their first run, and then on their second run he found 3.5 tenths in the first sector, and then he fluffed it in the second sector.
So in other words, what you're saying is that he would have been the best if he wasn't the worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
he would have done it had he not done it.
Mhm.
There.
I like your train of thought there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is motorsport. All we talk about is what ifs.
I really do fancy the Red Bulls around Japan.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be anywhere.
They're tickling my fancy.
I think this could be time for Max's first victory. Or pole.
He won in Austria.
Pole. His first pole.
You think so?
And who could?
No, actually I don't. I think he'll win. I do think he'll win though.
How will he get past whoever's ahead of him?
Strategy. Real boring shit kind of way of
Probably
doing it.
around the outside.
In his car.
In his car, yes. Good call.
Well, no, Red Bull's pit stops tend to be fairly on the mark. Their strategy always tends to be they tend to nail it. So
Yeah.
why
They're
not?
Red
Like
Bull-
last year, like let's put it this way: Red Bull's much closer to Mercedes this year than they were last year.
No, I think they were
They are.
closer last year.
They are.
Oh God, no.
No,
not at all.
you're mental.
Red Bull were chatting.
And
Verstappen
Max-
won 2 races at the end of last year.
Max was only 1.2 seconds off Mercedes off Lewis at the end of the race last year, and Danny Rick was third. So
That's true, actually. Yeah, they were close last year.
but they were nowhere in quali. They were a good second off the pace in quali. So,
It's hard to overtake there. That's the main thing.
but if you've got solid race pace, and you can go long in the first stint, you've got a chance.
They'll need to, like, I'm fully behind Red Bull jumping Ferrari, because Ferrari's strategy recently has been abysmal.
Recently,
It's been
throughout the season,
fucking
it's been
desperate.
shocking, terrible.
It's been shocking. I'd be offered them jumping 2 Ferraris, but I'm not sure about the Mercs, especially Hamilton,
Who have we done for best of the rest?
Leclerc.
K-Mag.
It's between the pair of them.
It is. The two of them are like in fighting form recently.
The Force Indias will probably struggle around Suzuka.
They will still. Well, it's a difficult one to see because they've got a good horsepower in the back of it, but the problem is that it's not very.
Grippy.
There's something not perfect about that car this year. I can't put my finger on what it is.
You know what?
There's just something not working on it.
I think I'm gonna tip Fernando Alonso for 7th. I think he's
Fuck
gonna-
off.
Yeah, I think he'll be best of the rest.
It was McLaren were second slowest in Russia. Only
By a
Williams were
distance.
slower.
And like Williams were HRT slow in fucking Russia.
Like, do you know how slow Williams were in Russia?
Go on.
They were half a second slower than they were last year.
How have they,
Halo.
how have they gone backwards?
Because the car is like, they were half a second slower than they were last year. Whereas I think the pole time this year was like 2.5-3 seconds quicker than it was last year.
I don't know.
So in other words, they're like they've dropped 4 seconds off the pace basically.
Yo,
Yeah, so that's HRT slow, like.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pathetic.
what are Williams gonna do next year? They're desperately close to not being on the grid.
We've had this conversations in every podcast since we've come back. It's like we're wishing for it to happen.
Of course we are.
Let's just be honest about it, like.
Finton's the ringleader here. I used to like Williams. And Josh, you have a fucking Williams t-shirt and a Williams jacket.
Because it was cheap. Formula One
They
gear is
needed the
money.
Formula One gear is expensive, and it's cheap.
If you go to
Still though,
TK
you know
Maxx,
You know, yeah, you go to say, you know, your team's fucked when TK Maxx are selling Williams gear, like.
I think they also sell Merc gear.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, but it's all like 2-year-old stuff or 3-year-old gear.
Oh, there you go. There's
Actually, I was just wondering there, what is the whole
spokesman
DK and
for
Y?
Mercedes.
You know the way like Tommy Hilfiger sponsor Merck? I wonder what the story is with like Lewis going about now, like DKNY shit.
Well, like, I'm sure Tommy probably owns DKNY. So you'd find.
So Tommy's different than that crowd that own Ferrari. What are they called again?
Fiat.
No, the crowd that own the sponsorship for Ferrari.
Philip Morris.
Yeah, because Tommy Hilfiger's actually alive.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also a clothes company. Philip Morris doesn't sell clothes. Well, maybe they do, but not properly. They're like they're a fag brand, like.
Philip Morris are very broad. He's very broad.
They have a diverse portfolio as of late.
So where do we see coming in the round up to the season? Who do you think's going to get the Formula 1.5 championship? Which driver? Best of the rest?
K-Mag.
You think it's
By a
going to be
mile.
K-Mag?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's much doubt about it.
He's currently best of the rest now at the moment. He's level with points in Hulkenberg, but he's beaten him in countback.
Yeah,
I'm just
Renault
checking it here
Renault
now.
have gone backwards in the last since they signed Danny Rick.
They have, but I wonder, is that a case of they've pulled all
Resources.
funds from this year's car? Yeah, to make a big run in 2019, 2020.
Possibly because Sauber have continued their development late into this year, which usually you wouldn't see from a midfield team.
I'm looking at the standings here, and what you're saying about Renault is actually quite interesting. I think they could actually be quite good next year if they focused on it, because the aero regulations, it's quite a big shake-up.
Yeah.
So maybe Ricardo knows something we don't. But then I kind of fancy Hülkenberg to take 7th overall.
Really? No. I'd happily put a good point on it with you.
I think he's going to finish 4th.
4th? Go on.
He won't get a podium.
Yeah.
So,
I think.
Do you reckon Fernando will overtake Hulk?
No.
The Force Indias might.
No.
The Force Indias definitely might.
There's a chance, I think, of them doing it, but it's going to be very difficult. Very
Ocon's
difficult.
on 47. Oh, he's only 6 points. Oh, the two of them are only 6 points behind.
Yeah.
Look at the upcoming tracks.
Go on.
Look at the upcoming tracks. They all kind of suit Renault, I think.
Compared to the Haas?
Yeah. Because Haas has been better on really long straights.
Well, Haas will go well around Mexico, presumably.
Kota.
They'll go well around Kota. They'll go...
Abu Dhabi.
They usually have a good showing. They usually have a good showing in Brazil as well, though.
Do they?
They're usually okay at the start of the season and the end of the season. It's in the middle where it kind of falls away for them.
But don't forget, young Nico Hülkenberg has a pole position at Brazil.
He does. Does he have a podium though?
No. What were you going to say, Josh?
Where do we see Charles Leclerc finishing out? He's currently in 15th. He's picking up good points in the last few races. I reckon he can leapfrog Roman.
I think he can.
Pierre.
I think he can jump.
He
Up
might
to
nab
12th.
Sainz. Yeah.
I reckon he's got the potential to nab Sainz, yeah.
It depends. Like, where did he finish in the last race? 6th, no 7th. How many points do you get for? 7th?
10? Is it?
No, 10's 5th place.
Oh, is it? So then
This
it's
is
six.
really F1 basics, lads, that we're struggling with.
Listen, we don't even fucking watch the races. Let's not worry about the points. This is going to be another thing.
The constructors, Haas are 11 points behind Renault. Possible?
Very possible, yeah.
Yeah. Considering Sainz is shot to bed.
Yeah.
For 7,
Jeez, Van Dorn's
you
still
get
shit as well.
6 points for 7.
Yeah, Finton was right.
He said 10.
No, but he corrected and said 6th. 6th. Sauber
Fuck you,
are
Josh.
second last in the championship.
Yeah.
27
No.
points. Leclerc
Wait, so-
has improved 100.
Are you saying then that Racing Point Force India has jumped? Where are they?
Racing Point are 7th.
Wow, that's fucking impressive.
They're ahead of Williams, Sauber, and Toro Rosso, and I think they'll jump McLaren.
Hang on, no. There's no way Racing Point are 7.
They are. They're 35
They've had
points.
fantastic finishes.
That's
since they've
normal
come back.
Force India.
No, Racing Point. Normal Force India are at the bottom here, 0.
Oh, so they just evaporate all their points. I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
This just says Force
Actually-
India Mercedes.
How many points had they before they got cut?
Yes, that's a good question.
Because I want to know if Williams are still 11th in the 10-team championship.
Oh no,
Well, yes,
Force India
yeah.
had. Yeah, they are. Force India had a
Yeah.
lot more than 7 points.
What
Second.
position were Force India in? They would have been.
They were 5th, weren't they? Or 6th?
I think they were
6th, weren't
I
they?
think they were 6th. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, Sauber would probably be ahead of Haas if Grosjean stayed shit and K-Mag didn't have, like, a rebirth. I think, like, fundamentally,
Well,
the two cars are very close.
Sauber definitely have a chance to take 7th in the championship.
Do you
I
think?
don't see them overhauling
Nah.
Force India.
Their pace has been, well, apart from Ericsson's, Leclerc's pace has been as good as Force India's.
Ericsson was Q3 the last race.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of come good since the pressure's come off him to be a driver.
Well, has he come good since the pressure come off? Because he's always just standardly 3 places behind Leclerc.
It's his swan song.
But to be fair though, like if we're considering Leclerc to be a future GOAT, it has to be said that like to only be 3 places behind him is not overly bad.
No,
Yeah, it's not too bad really.
he's done a fine job.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Conor McGregor fight?
I think he'll lose.
Do you think he's gonna
Really?
lose?
Yeah, I can't see how he could win. He doesn't. There's no way he'll have the hunger for it anymore. He's far more concerned about having whiskey and doing cocaine with Rita Ora.
But I'm saying that's exactly the reason he will win the fight, because he's got no fucking cares in the world. All he has to do is train for his fight, go in, fuck shit up. Whereas Khabib still lives with his parents and fucking has no money, no future. He's probably going to get like, I don't know, Conor was throwing out insults there, saying he's going to get like arrested whenever he goes back to Russia. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Nah, my money's on the Russian. I reckon if he can get Conor on the ground, he's gonna wrestle him out of it.
Every
big if,
round
though.
starts on the feet.
But again, if Conor can whack a couple of good lefties,
Honestly, Josh, the more myself and Finn were saying this earlier, the more you think
I know
about
about it as much about this fight as I do about the Japanese Grand Prix, which is not much. So whoever's listening to me and my opinions and putting money on it, fucking hell.
Well, I
I think he did a betting special once.
He did. He did. I don't think it was too
Oh
bad.
yeah, that was.
The tip. The best thing is tip everyone.
That way you can never be wrong.
Never be wrong.
The thing I loved about Josh's idea for the betting video was basically we recorded the video with the live bets then, and then 2 days later when it was uploaded, all the odds had changed.
Because all the
That's
odds
the
had changed
point.
because everyone was betting on what I was suggesting, you know, and I was changing the market.
Yeah, all 300 views.
This was complete insider trading. I was betting against what I was tipping. And, yeah.
No, clever man.
It's a bit like ringing up the EA to say there was a crash on the M25 when you want to go home. Clear the roads.
Have you actually done that, Josh?
No.
Highly convincing.
So when
I was in Milton Keynes yesterday.
oh, it's a
The
hole.
land of 1,000 roundabouts.
It's a hole. It's all
It's
square roundabouts.
It's a shocking hole of a place. God, there's
Yeah.
there's no culture, life, or anything. About
Sure, the place didn't exist about 5 years ago.
I fucking lived there for 2 years, lads, and it was
that must have been
horrible,
depressing.
horrible.
I was
place.
in some shopping centre fitting a sign for a fat face, and there was a
Was
and
it
there
fucking
there was a
There's 2 there. There's
there was a crazy
there's
there
into
was a crazy bloke with a microphone singing about Jesus.
that's not a crazy bloke. That's like a normal person in Milton Keynes. Which were we in? We one with like the big glass fronted, or were we in the room that was like really, really fucking long?
The one beside McDonald's.
They're both beside McDonald's. One's like across the road from it, and the other's like built into it.
Don't know, mate.
Did you go from the street into? Did you see a big glass pyramid in the middle of the town? No.
I didn't go into the middle of the town.
Oh, okay. Well, no, like there's a shopping centre. Is the
We
middle
were
of the town.
we were beside you know that indoor skiing place
Yeah.
beside there.
Lads,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's like the fucking. I can't remember the name of it.
that's
But yeah, that place.
what is this?
I'm reliving my last days of fucking university and my short time in motorsport valley.
Hang on. Let me say hello to the listener. Hello, Patrick Brennan.
Yeah, he's the only one that's going to be still here. Right,
Yeah.
so will we offer up our predictions for Japan and then
Oh
fuck
God,
off?
we're cutting that, yeah.
No, God, not at all.
Nah. So, podium predictions for Japan?
I'm gonna say Hamilton wins. No, fuck it. I'll go out on a limb. I'll say Raikkonen wins. Hamilton second. Fucking Verstappen third.
Alright, Josh?
Max.
I'm gonna say
Max-
Vettel DNF.
Max for the win. Lewis second. Sebastian third.
Okay. I'm going to say, because I'm the realist the realist here.
What was wrong with the fuck off?
I'm gonna say Hamilton wins, Vettel second, and Verstappen third. And Daniel Ricciardo just to disappear halfway through the race or something, never hear about him.
But as you're saying, calling yourself a realist, but you're looking at the person who's 714th in the world in fantasy GP, so it's not to be chuffed at, lad, and I'm 200 points ahead of you. But congratulations on leapfrogging Fenton into second place.
I've only done predictions of like half the races.
That's your fault for being.
To be fair, I had Fernando Alonso as a driver once upon a time.
What?
And then I swapped him for Nico Hülkenberg, who then subsequently became shite as well.
Haven't touched my team. Don't know what the story is there.
I have Hamilton, Vettel, and Mercedes, and Leclerc, and Sauber, and Magnussen. I think. No, Haas. That's my team.
Who for pole position?
Hamilton.
Lewis.
Kimi.
Oh Jesus!
But are you? Okay, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong this time. So you're saying
you'll be wrong this time.
Not Hamilton. You're going to be wrong.
Not Hamilton.
Not Hamilton.
I'm
going to stick with it.
I'll bet you around.
Around, go on, so.
Josh, you coming back at the end of the month? Because I'm coming to Limerick.
I don't know.
No.
I'm supposed to check my flights. I don't know when. I'm trying to get back next week at some point.
Alright.
But if there is any Crash Helmet F1 fans in London, please don't bother me.
At least you're honest about it.
Please don't bother.
So going back to
that's a great way to treat your friends. Don't bother.
Yeah.
To my friends, yeah. I just want to be. I just want to be a normal human being. No, I just want to go about my life.
That's fair enough, I suppose.
It's been a long time since Josh could go to the shop and just get milk.
This new celebrity lifestyle is getting to him.
Oh no, in the UL we're quite known.
Yeah. We are.
They're all fit.
They're
all fitness friends.
Predominantly, but that's not the point.
Alright.
So if we think about it right as well, we saw Nico Hülkenberg dropped from my NASCAR-esque run into the season.
Oh yeah.
Who do we think is getting who's going to be eliminated? Who's going to finish basically?
Who's left?
Six of the drivers. So it's the three big guys. The three big teams are left. So who out of
Ricardo's gone.
Yeah, I think Ricardo
or Raikkonen.
I could see a Vettel DNF in Japan.
Like last year.
Why could you see such a thing?
I think he's going to bin it into somebody.
Well, I was just going to ask.
Hamilton.
Definitely not mechanical failure. You see driver error.
No, like potentially getting tied up into somebody, like hitting Grosjean or something.
Jeez, Grosjean hasn't been that far up for a long time.
No, but he's lapping him.
I don't know. Some shit like that will happen, I think.
Interesting.
I was very sad to see your Strachan prediction didn't come through.
Yeah, no, so was I.
There was a sniper rifle though.
There was many a
There was a sniper rifle. I was half right.
What did you make of Vladimir's appearance?
I didn't watch any of the highlights or nothing, so I don't know.
It was the most awkward thing on the podium I've ever seen. Because like he came out, handed the winner's trophy to Lewis, and then just stood in the middle, like just blocking everything. It was so awkward.
And he landed in with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and then he was sat with Bernie. Have you seen Bernie? Looks like an old Richard Hammond with the smeg, the goatee.
No, Bernie Eccleston looks like he died 5 years ago and began decomposing.
No, have you seen Bernie recently with the beard?
Yes. Again,
he looks like Lewis No, he looks like Richard Hammond.
He looks like he's decomposing.
Probably is.
Like, no, he looks awful. I mean, awful.
Yeah.
Really awful.
He's rode out with that big Brazilian board that he's with.
I mean, fair play to him. He always done reasonably well with the women.
He did. Like when you have a few billion about you, that tends to happen.
Apparently when you get them in the...
When you can walk up to somebody and say, I own Formula 1. For the benefit of our listeners, Evan's now put in eye drops live on camera here.
This is...
Go on. Cry like a little bitch.
Disturbing. Yeah.
We say goodbye.
I suppose so. It sounded like Josh wanted to say something,
I
but
feel like we
I
didn't
don't
talk
know.
about the race at all.
When have we
it
ever?
was a shit race.
I feel like we should probably, as pains.
Oh, actually,
as
lads, the
much as
fucking
it
team
pain-
orders.
As much as it pains, we've already talked about that. As much as it pains me to say,
Yeah.
Lewis had an excellent overtake on Seb.
Oh, it was beautiful. Oh,
Haven't seen
Did
it.
you just have a little accident?
hold on, let me check. No, I'm okay.
Did
It was beautiful,
Did you at
though.
the time?
At the time, I was up shouting and roaring at my father, saying Vettel was a dirty bastard. And then when I looked back at the screen, Hamilton was alongside, and I was like, "All right, never mind." And then I saw the replay, and I was like, "Racing incident."
So
What do you think about the proposed regs for 2021?
didn't read.
Just so we can milk this episode another
I
bit.
didn't read.
Power.
Them. What is the story? What are we getting?
An extra 10 kilograms an hour of fuel. So basically, like a 10% boost in the amount of power they can use,
And shorter wheelbase.
and slightly shorter wheelbase. Yeah.
Opinions, Josh? More power.
Well, will 10 kilograms an hour? Is that exactly what will give us 10% more power?
Yeah. Well, you can, if you burn fuel has a certain calorific value. So if you burn 10% more fuel, you'll either get 10% more power if you keep the same thermal efficiency, or if your thermal efficiency goes down, you'll get more noise.
But this probably won't mean that we're going to head towards 1100 brake horsepower. It probably just means we're going to have the teams will run a higher power for longer, as opposed to fuel saving.
Yeah, it won't mean higher horsepower, because you think about the cars in qualifying are running at max run anyway. Like, that regulation only applies to the race.
Agreed. Well,
No, it applies the
I
whole
don't
time.
like the fuel saving anyway. So if we had far better racing if like what would happen if they doubled the amount of fuel you could use?
The biggest problem with
I
Formula
think
1
they would still use the same amount they use now. Like, when in the history of Formula 1 has a team ever used the most fuel possible?
to use the minimum amount possible.
Yeah.
Basically, the quickest strategy is to drive as slowly as possible to do a one-stop race, and that's what all the teams.
Yeah.
Well, that's what all the teams are doing, and that's why
Yeah.
the races are kind of boring.
I mean, I really miss the days of a good 3 or 4 stopper.
We need tires to go off after half a lap.
I miss the days of the Pirellis falling off cliffs quicker than quicker
I mean,
than
I
a
want
pink packet of Durex.
I want the tire to be delaminating on the straights, just going.
I've never used the pink Durex, Josh. What is your disheartening against them?
They explode. They fall off a cliff.
Which
Fall
one of
off the
those?
cliff. They fall off the cliff.
I mean,
Which one of those are they? Like the feather lights or what? Fucking.
The ribbed ones.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm not a fucking connoisseur of Johnny's. Like,
oh, don't you?
I don't know. I've never looked at the various flavors.
Flavors? Why are you sucking Johnny's? Like, why? Jesus Christ.
I think you missed the joke there, but okay, fair enough.
Oh God.
I've always been an advocate of refueling.
I think it was reusing Johnny's.
Turn them inside out.
Get them ones that with the numbing on the outside, on the inside, slows you down.
Turn it outside.
Speeds her up. Turn it inside out. We don't even
Slows
wait.
her down.
Jesus. I was thinking of that joke as well. Who did you steal that from?
What?
Frankie Boyle.
Was it Sean Locke or somebody?
Frankie Boyle.
No. Yeah,
Frankie
Frankie Boyle. Yeah.
Right,
That's
I'm
good
gonna
now,
have
because
to
we don't
go,
need to
'cause
cut that.
I have to go for dinner.
Alright then, sound sure. We'll wrap it up with that.
To be honest, we were only getting going.
We were only getting going. We won't get enough tonight, but you're fuck it. Come back next week.
It's really shocking.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't put this out. It's really bad.
No, we can't. Be grand.
No.
Right, good night.
Doesn't matter. It was nearly as bad as the Russian Grand Prix, right?
What do you mean
Yeah.
you need to go for dinner? You live in Cork on your own.
I'm going to my cousin's house for dinner.
Oh, what you making?
Don't know yet. Right.
You're still eating Maryland's.
I'll
gonna
stop
have another one
recording.
Alright, good luck. Remember to like and subscribe and all that shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I
bye,
thought
bye.
we
See you
were
next week.
already finished. Bye. Good luck. Sound. Yeah.